Joining us now on the conversation, of course, former banking secretary, Mr. Mittal. Thank you so much for speaking with us as we're trying to make the most sense of what has been, unfolding at this furious pace. First, let's start with the impact. And do you think that the 21 days that has been given for this to come into effect is essentially a negotiating period which has been put out for India and the United States?
Absolutely. That's a window for the purposes of bringing negotiation on the table. And that's why they have delayed it. Maybe they will delay it further because they want to use the threat of more duties on Indian exports and negotiate on the terms which US wants.
What can India now bring to the table in your view, Mr. Mittal? Because there have been extensive negotiations going on, and from what we understand, the red line now has been drawn at access to our agricultural sector. This does not seem something that we're going to relent on. Reducing our imports from Russia, is that what you see as the next step?
So let me divide into three parts. One, that what is being done by the US is against all principles of discussions, trades, tariffs globally. US was one of the sponsors of WTO. WTO works on a principle of most favored nation treatment to everybody. There is no policy, no framework, no exception to any country to raise duties on anybody and start charging duties as you want. It's not permitted. So they have demolished WTO, and I am confident after some time they will come back again that we want WTO. The second part is when they impose duty, it is ultimately a duty on their own imports. Their own customers will have to pay for it. How do we assume that we have to bring back the prices to a level that the prices in the US remain the same? The only issue is if there are other competitor nations, right? They have a lesser duty. To that extent, that can happen. But that's something to be seen for each product. See, the product classification at 8-digit level, it does not mean that this is the same product. So it is each product export in each group which has to be seen that what is the uniqueness of that and can anybody replace it easily. The third part is we have to look at the country's future. A short-term impact of whatever it is, and for whatever time Mr. Trump is imposing these duties, we should look at the long-term interest of the country. That is most supreme to all of us, all citizens, whether it is affecting me as a businessman individually, that's fine. But country needs to live, and we need to be together with the government to support it out. Today, if we yield on what US is asking, then we are demolished. As a country, we are destroyed. I don't think anybody wants that. Because if the country is destroyed, those who are exporting today and going to suffer, they will also get destroyed. So let's not look at that. And the last point for me, dealing with the US is much different than we dealing with any other country. There, the government is driven by the corporates. Each government has some favored corporates, and one has seen that in the government how those corporates reached out to us, and how did we get a quid pro quo for the country's interest in many things. So it is a question of the government has to be very carefully looking at. I mean, they have so many pain points. Boeing case is a fit case when the country should say that there was a fault with the Boeing, the Air India flight. There's no doubt about it. But we are not doing that. And there are similarly many more cases, many more business interests of the US corporates in India, where we should say that if you're pushing us to corner, then we have no choice but to push you to corner as well. So, but the last point from me is let's not speak anything. I think the statement from MEA was not required. We should not provoke anybody. It wasn't required. It did not serve any purpose. Everybody knows the facts.
Mr. Mittal, let me ask you on that. Let me just deep dive on that a little bit with you, sir. Why do you think that statement was not required? Because beyond the point, you have to stand up to a bully. At some point, you have to stand up to a bully, and this is essentially bullying.
It is not. You see, that statement could occur as analysis of some of the reporters. See, we wanted to bring facts to knowledge of everybody. A statement by the government is a very strong thing. Why do you have to have that? It doesn't serve any purpose whatsoever. You could always ask media, press, or anybody to give out these facts as their own analysis, which is in public domain. There's nothing great about it. But what is the purpose of announcing with the government and taking a fight of the nature? Knowing a person is unreasonable. Knowing a person who should be rational with India when they look at India as a partner and they want to punish India. So it is not strategically correct. It doesn't serve any purpose. It has not achieved anything. So we are not talking to anybody who is rational, who follows policy of the world, who believes in WTO. We are not talking to anybody like that. So if this was to end, ideally it should have been done somebody in the Washington Post, not in India. Why should we get it to India? See, these are the smart things to be done by us to manage, or maybe bring to Financial Times. They put up the news and what for India is being punished. So that carries much more weight. It has a much more impact on the Trump government than what has come out through the MEA statement. It is unfortunate that we went into that trap. And that's why he got a ground to say, okay, I will put 25% more. And even now, we should not react anything officially from the government side. Absolutely no need to panic. We should stand hard with absolutely head high, and there's no need to take. And we are always ready to talk. We should always be ready to talk on senses, and we should always be ready to talk with facts and figures and see that how does it serve my interest, serve your interest, and beyond that, it's not possible for me to go down. There is no other way to deal with it. And see, another point would be the courts have been giving very, very judgments in the Supreme Court whether the president has powers or not. Now, that's a fit case. We have such an Indian diaspora in US. They are very powerful, very effective. There are so many lawyers. I mean, they could be put into courts, into the importing, and all importers are unhappy about it. The importers could really gang up there and go, okay, what is this happening? You know, you disrupt my supplies. I have taken contracts of some of the inputs coming from India, and they now become 50% costlier. My contracts are only frozen. What do I do? So these are so many options available to us. We should try to stand up to this, what to say, a war on our national respect, national dignity. We should stand up to that in a very smart manner. We should not be having a street fight with them. There is no way. He wants a street fight. He's a street fighter. That's what he enjoys. And we should not get into that.
No, so Mr. Mittal, looking at your formidable reputation and experience in the WTO, my question to you, and it could be a very simplistic question, is why is the world taking this? Because India is not the only one who's facing this kind of street fight, as you called it. Isn't it time that an organization like the WTO steps in, that other nations step in and say, hey, this is not the way negotiations can go on?
See, WTO has been destroyed by the US. WTO had teeth only through dispute settlement mechanism. So the US decided that they will not approve any judges, and that dispute settlement mechanism was destroyed about 10 years back. So WTO is now a toothless tiger. They can't do anything. A statement from them, the WTO DG has no capacity or capability or strength or to say courage to speak against the US. There's no way they can speak. We should not expect. We should again, you see, we have many options available coolly. I mean, this is a time when China, US, and India should get together. And the biggest threat to the US is the dollar. And the time has come in the world when countries need to take a leap that, okay, dollar needs to go down. And Mr. Trump is pushing the world to that extent. He's not understanding what he's trying to do. If the world unites, then they say, we will, say, Brazil already annoyed so much, South Africa so much. So fine, you don't want to deal with us. Okay, we also don't want to deal with us. My trade will get reduced by $40 billion, so let it be. We'll see that, what do we do? But if nobody will supply to, where will you live? I mean, China, they put duties on Canada. They're neighbors. I mean, this is total mindlessness. Mexico, 35%. What are you doing? They are your NAFTA partners. They live next to you. What kind of treatment you want to mete out to your neighbors? So look at the nature of the person with whom you are dealing. So my suggestion is absolutely be silent, act very tough back in rooms, use all channels, including litigation channel in the US, use political channel in the US, which are the interested parties, use the screw tightening on the US interests in India, which are close to the Trump administration. Everything is available. And then combine with all countries. At this time, forget about anything. China, Russia, and Brazil, South Africa should come together and say, okay, very coolly without saying, dollar is not to be cleared debt by us.